Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are featuring Draken watches. Now to be fair, I have featured quite a few of these over the years. I think Michael out in New Zealand makes some really kind of cool and interesting watches. This is his newest watch. This is the Peregrine. And to be fair, they did do this model back in 2018, but I think it was slightly larger and basically he's modified it for this new release. This we have here is actually a review piece. So I believe it's a prototype, so it's been around a few places, so if you notice some scuffs and whatever on there, that's why that is the case anyway. But I've always found their watches to be quite interesting, and this one I think is very cool. If you notice down at the bottom, we are featuring a very small little power reserve on there, which I think looks really good. Let's talk sizes first of this watch. We're talking 41.8 millimeters across, a thickness of 12.8 millimeters, a lug to lug of 48.5, and the bracelet on this is 22 millimeters. Now the dial, I quite like this one. I think this does look very, very good. As you can see, we actually have applied hour markers on this black background here. Now we do have a slightly sunken part in the center, and it helps make it look that less kind of, it's too, you know, it gives it a little bit more depth, let's say. Even though it's only recessed a tiny bit, it makes it look that little bit more interesting. I like the fact that we just have the Draken. I think he's got a very cool motif going on there, and obviously Draken there, and the Peregrine automatic. But the eagle-eyed amongst you might notice this. And this is a very cool power reserve. Now, unfortunately, I left this about halfway full, and during taking a couple of outdoor shots of it and all that, it has miraculously fully charged itself. It has got a very efficient winding system, but that is your power reserve. So basically, obviously, minus down at here, you're running out, and there you're full. I do like the way he's done that, because you can also use the center of the hand there as your, you know, kind of 30-minute indicator. So it is actually quite nice how he's done it. I love the fact that the date is also down here at 6 o'clock, because it gives it a real symmetry to the dial. Now, one thing I should say, it's got really good loom. I was surprised just how good the loom was on this, and it's also a bi-loom, so you've got two different colors going on. The loom, yeah, I can't fault it. And another little party, well, actually, we'll talk about it in a minute. A little party piece he always does when it comes to loom. Now, it is available in a few different colours. I possibly think my favourite is the black with the white dial and the batons. I think it looks really, really quite cool. But this one here is the Peregrine version B, and it still looks very, very cool, I think. It's got a real, it feels like the right size and weight on this watch. Now, obviously, as we come past, we have this fixed bezel going on here. The case is very similar to other Draken cases in that he has his name on, yeah, has the company name on the side there, and you have a very cool, good angle to the lugs, and what that enables it for it to sit down low on the wrist, and it means it, because they're angled, it fits a slimmer wrist better also, which is very nice. Very nice, clean, sharp edges, good brushwork going on there. The bracelet fits in it, no problem at all. They have you know, sometimes you can come across some companies and the bracelet just does not look right. It feels like the end links just do not match the case. These, they match perfectly. We also have drilled lugs, which is good because every model, I believe, features a secondary NATO strap. And so it makes it nice and easy to swap that out. But also, as you'll see in a minute, we've got quick release bars on there. Now, one thing I would say, we have gone for a left-handed approach here. I personally like that. I have no problem with that, being that I like Zin watches, and quite a few of them do that anyway. Now, the crown itself is knurled, but it's not overly aggressive like, say, on a couple of the Elliott Browns I've reviewed. It is very, very coarse on that. On this, it is just nice. It, you know, screws in, no problem at all. I believe it's got a water resistance rating of 100 meters, but a nice little party piece he always puts on here. is he has his logo on the side there fully loomed up, and it looks really nice at night when you see that glowing. I think he's onto a thing there. It does look nice. Now, as we turn this watch round, as you can see, we've got a display case back there, and behind that is the Miyota 9130. Now, it's quite surprising because this is a new watch, but actually now that movement is discontinued, I believe. I put it on the time graph, and I think this was coming out around about +6, +6.5 seconds, which is very, very respectable for this movement. It's got a power reserve of 40 hours, and it's a 26 joule movement. The rotor on the back, I love how they spin on these. Now, what that indicates is it only winds in one direction, but I've got no problem with that because I just like when you've got a watch on and you can feel the rotor kind of moving. It's almost like the watch is alive. It's got a beating heart. Now, this version we have here is on the bracelet. The bracelet itself, to be fair, is actually quite a nice bracelet, and it has actually got screws going in there, so it just feels really quite nice. You can also get this watch on a sailcloth strap, which also looks nice and is a little bit cheaper. We'll talk about prices in a minute, but the clasp itself looks nice and solid. It's a nice finish to it. It's got the Draken logo. We've got the 2 pushes in there, which actually sit inboard, so they won't press into your wrist or anything and pop out like that. No problem at all. I feel it's quite a decent bracelet. I believe it will go up to a size of 8 inches. Now, we have simple micro adjustment there, which is all you really need, and it locks in really, really well. Now, I should talk about prices of this watch. At the minute, this retails on their online shop for $599 US. In the UK, that equates to about £450, and it can be had even cheaper if you opt to get it on the sailcloth strap. One thing I would say, this would be a real strap monster. I reckon this would look good on so many different straps. But for £450, I think it's a very cool watch. It just feels right. It's very comfortable on the wrist. It looks cool. On the subject of that, let me show you it on my wrist so you got an idea how it looks. Quick wrist check. I'm wearing my new Fortis B52 limited edition. New to me, I should say, because it's about 13 years old. And Bob is gone for the Vario. Now, I had that in for review a few weeks ago, and to be fair, I keep wearing it. I really like it. It's something different. My wrist size is what is it, 7¼ inches. I had to think then, that wasn't good. And that equates to roughly 18.5 centimeters, and that's how it looks on my wrist. I think this is quite a cool looking watch. It really looks kind of fit for purpose. It looks rugged, let's say. And I think that is very cool. I think he's definitely on sync with this one. I think, I'm hoping for him this does really well. I believe it will, because it just looks superb. I'm really quite keen on this one. Anyway, guys, if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below, as I'll always try and get back to you, but it is getting a little bit harder these days. And most importantly, you stay safe out there. Take care. Bye.